Can you dig it?
We can dig it. We can dig it.
Which is, what do you think about? And this was put forth by you, Charles. What do you think about salary versus hourly wages?
Well, I'm only going to pay you hourly if you can't speak like a human being.
Now, say here.
Yeah. Wow, the Tennessee came out right there. I actually want to get a quick poll from you guys, Kurt and Joe. What do y'all think about just in the surface salary? See, I can't do it either, Joe. I can't do it either. Salary versus hourly.
I like Salisbury steak, Lee. I mean,
I like salary, but only with peanut butter.
That took me too long to get. I got it within about half a second, but in a half a second, I realized half a second was too long to take to see what joke you're making here. All right, this is.
I remember something my dad told me was never go salary, and salary really just benefits the company, in my opinion. Like 95% of the time, I should say, it benefits the company.
Okay, so that's the general consensus of what people think. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm saying, but that's the opinion. What do you think, Kurt?
Well, so I've been on both ends of the spectrum on the salary thing. I've worked salary most of my life, okay. And there have been places where it was absolutely abused by the company that I worked for.
Right.
And like to the point where I went for the worst case scenario was I went for 3 months working 7 days a week, 20-hour days.
Oh.
And literally 20-hour days. Because I lived 5 minutes away from home. I would go home, sleep for 2 hours, get up and go again. That was abuse. I mean, that was just abuse.
Yeah.
I will say that generally speaking, when I was working for a good company, which was most of them, I got paid a salary because I was management. And with that salary, though, comes extra benefits that you wouldn't get as an hourly employee. Could you? Potentially, depending on the company. But I also, along with that would come things like, hey, you went above and beyond, and so here's some comp time, and just take some time off, some paid time
bonuses
off. Kind of like bonuses. In some of the better companies, I had profit sharing because I was salary and part of management. But you have to be very careful to not abuse that. Like the company that I work for now, all of my technicians are salaried employees. But I work hard to say, do not work this weekend. It can wait until Monday.
Right.
Because they're dedicated enough that they will do the extra work. And frankly, they're younger and not as jaded. But I want to keep that kind of feeling, because then when we have to ask them to do extra, it's worthwhile. Like they know it's an actual emergency and it's an exception.
Yeah. What is the value to the employee and the company in your situation for it to be salary?
So honestly, the primary value is that they don't have to worry about their pay.
The check is the same.
The company expenses are the same.
Right. And
there's a balance to it.
But so if they work 38 hours or they work 42 hours, it's the same, and we're not nitpicking over the 2 hours that they came up short on the 40, because we trust that they're going to do their jobs. And so if somebody isn't doing their job and is coming up short, We know that. People know that. Nobody's stupid. You can see what's happening, right? And so you talk to them based on that, not based on whether they're hourly or salary. It doesn't
Right.
matter. They're not doing a good job, So I think that part of that really is that let's take worrying about your hourly rate out of the equation, and let's just treat you well. And like the company that I work for, we don't have a number of sick days. If you're sick, you're sick. And guess what?
Yeah.
Nobody abuses it.
Yeah. It's called being an adult and having accountability.
Yeah, but it's also the responsibility of the company to treat people fairly. And
so we'll talk about that definitely.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, because that's where salary gets. It can be abused.
It can be. Joe, you were saying something though.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the term unlimited PTO is kind of a big thing it's a big thing in companies now, but yes, it is a misnomer, because a lot of companies, and there's definitely good companies out there, but there's a lot of companies that like, oh, you're calling in sick again. Like they have unlimited PTO, but then they shame you every time you use it.
Yep. And we don't do that. I can only speak for the companies that I've worked for and that I've had any kind of responsibility for. To the point where it like October would roll around and people had a whole bunch of vacation time, and I'm going, will you just take some vacation? Will you just take some time off? And not because I'm worried about rollover or whatever, but just like I want people to have time off. So you don't burn out. I mean,
when I first started working where I am, at the end of the year, you could roll over a certain amount, and then anything above that you could sell back for 50 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
They got rid of that a couple of years into me working there, so they don't have that anymore. Now they have it capped on how much you can roll over, and anything else is just lost. And so what ends up happening is work comes to a screeching halt starting in late November, because so many people are gone, because they're like, I have to use my PTO or else I lose it. And so it's very counterintuitive. And there's someone on my old team. She's been with the company longer than I've been alive, and she loses probably 2 weeks of PTO every year because she just doesn't use enough. And even when she does use it, half the time she still calls in for meetings and stuff. She works too much.
I got to tell you, we have a woman who works for us who worked all day last Saturday, and I said, take Thursday off. Just take Thursday off. And she started calling in and answering emails and participating in Teams chat today. And I'm like, I will shut off your access.
I'm a Gen X manager. Of course I take care of you. Nobody was there to take care of me.
Yeah, that's kind of it, right? I mean, yeah. So I just I learned a long time ago that if you trust your employees, you treat them like people, then they will be more loyal than you could possibly buy. It's not difficult, but companies get short-sighted. And the bigger they are, the more disassociated from humanity they are.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to touch on that. Right. So I did see this a random kid who's totally not Phil. Oh, yes. How are you alive, Kurt? But that's not the one I meant to do. There's one above that. It was he said, salary is for chumps. Like a chump. Hey, like a chump. Hey, like a chump. Hey, I did it all for the salary. So all right, but that is the going thought process. Oh no, they'll get you. Let me tell you something. There are certain ways of getting overtime that will burn you hard. And the short version is like in EMS, when you work a 24-hour shift and 48 hours off, usually the way those paychecks fall is you get a full paycheck of overtime with overtime, full paycheck with overtime, and then a paycheck without overtime. And it hurts. On top of that, there's so much overtime because you already have it built in. If you work 1 to 2 extra shifts in the week, right? So not a ton extra as far as the days go. It can put you into a tax bracket that takes more taxes out of your checks. You will actually get the same or less money than you would have gotten had you not worked all the overtime that you worked.
I didn't think that's how tax brackets worked. I thought
it happened to me.
The amount you make above that tax bracket is taxed at the new tax rate, right? Isn't that how that works?
It still takes out more. I don't know. I'm not a tax expert, but I can tell you from being abused on an hourly level by being guilted into working extra shifts. I worked enough extra shifts in 2 weeks to get maybe $100 to $200 more in my paycheck instead of the $1,000 maybe more it should have been, or whatever it was at my pay rate for overtime and everything, because, and then the excuse, well, you'll get it back at taxes. Yeah. If I was smart enough to figure out how to claim it right. And no, the U.S. government is not my bank. I would rather take home money. So that's just a little aside there. Salary, I'm with you, Kurt, and you stole a lot of the great things that I was going to say, which is great because I like to wander on. So you bullet pointed it for me. But it is, one, companies are not people. And if people treat companies like people, that's where the inhumanity comes in. Trinity EMS is what I run. It's a company. We have a corporate mindset with things, but we have a human heart, and we treat every human like a human being, and we interact with them that way, and we do those things. And the idea of salary in my company is freedom. You have to earn the salary, meaning now you're going to stay on hourly. We're going to cap you. You can only work so many hours, but you're going to do this job. And you see the hungry people who want to do the job well. And when we negotiate a salary with them, is what is it you need to pay your bills? And we usually have a range for whatever level they're going to be, right? And then they typically pick their salary within that range of what they need. And then we do the other balance, because Kurt, like you said, it's freedom. I'm not having to worry about your hours. You, the leader, the manager, the supervisor who's hungry to help and do well, you don't have to worry about the hours either. We're going to pay you. You're going to take care of your family. And I do tell people, stop working so many days. I have somebody going on vacation. Everybody who goes on vacation under me, they always go, of course, I'll have my phone and my laptop. I'm like, nobody listens to me. And for those of you who don't know, I'm the COO. The buck stops with me. I'm the company. It's me. I have an owner who funds it all. It's my show. And I tell them, you won't listen to me, but don't. Leave your phone at home, your work phone at home. Leave your laptop at home. That's work. We issue laptops. So take your own personal crap wherever you want to go. Leave my stuff at your house. And they don't. They'll be sitting on the beach and answer the phone. And I do love that drive. But I mean, I seriously, I have threatened to suspend somebody because they're working too much. I'm always trying to find that balance, because to me, that's the quote thing. I hate this phrase, good problem to have, but that's my good problem to have is, okay, you're pushing, let me pull you back and say, hey, you know what? It's Friday afternoon. It's 2:00. It's beautiful weather. Is there anything on fire right now? No. Cool. Nothing's going to blow up till Monday. Cool. Go home. We're all going to go home. We're going to go, sit and drink a beer in the backyard, whatever you want to do. And Kurt, on top of, one, everybody gets 40 hours PTO. I have not tracked it a single day in the entire time I've been at this company for the leadership. It is, of course, you can go. I had something happen to one of my leaders tonight. Random kid. Actually, you know what? Random kid saying here is, we're not going to talk about it because I want to talk about this on another show, because I'm there. I hate it when companies use terms like family. Family doesn't mercilessly. I can't say it, Joe. Say it for
mercilessly.
Do layoffs like a company does. Okay. No. So I want to talk about family versus company in some other show and get you. I think you guys will talk a lot on that. But yeah, balance is the key word. And you brought that up, Kurt. You have to have balance. So a company trying to control overtime is trying to achieve that balance. And Joe, you nailed it. For a salary, I know my cost is going to be fixed. And the balance is, we not only basically give you free vacation, we don't count it. Something came up last night with one of my managers, and she didn't even have to tell me a story. She said, look, I got to do this thing for 2 days. Okay. And yep, sure. Okay. We do bonuses. We do bonuses throughout the year. We do nice dinners. We take our staff and say, hey, you know what? We're having a meeting today. What do y'all want? And we mean, what do you want? Do you want to order from the ramen place? That's $20 a person. Done. Do you want to order from the steak place? That's we try to say thank you, like you were saying, Kurt. And I think we've got to eliminate those mindsets of like a chunk, hey, and just open our eyes. Go, yes, Kurt, I can't stand the horror stories I've read from the gaming industry and crunch times and hell weeks. And Joe was Charles. Charles says, never give me any paid time off. He's such a slave driver. Hey, buddy, we're only bringing in like $20 a month. We're still in the eat what you kill stage of building this business. So we got to do better. If you'd like to join patreon.com/wiseandnerdy, please do. So all that being said, clarity, balance. You have to find, honestly, even in overtime, you can be abused.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting paid enough for this, will come out, because without home, which I think we're gonna talk about this next, home life balance, or soon, finding that balance in life. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter if your salary is $10 million a year if you're being abused. And it doesn't matter if you're getting $100 an hour if you only get to work 10 hours a week. So